Hello guys and welcome to another Spurs related video, and today we've got our co-host back on board, Joseph McBride. Welcome on in, Joe. As I say, as always, it's been a little while.
You missed me, lads. I'm back.
Oh, Joe's frozen again.
Joe's frozen. His laptop's playing havoc. Oh, he's back. There he is.
Yeah, internet's going on. I'm not sure.
Right. And anyway, as you can already see and hear, we've got the one and only. I'm going to let him introduce himself because I always butcher his slogan. But we got the Irish Hotspur. Always a pleasure to have you on, mate, and can't wait to review some Spurs related things today.
Yeah, look, it's the Irish Hotspur. You know, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. Ireland's answer to Harry Kane. You know what I mean? All that sort of jazz. But I'm here. No, it's absolutely great to be invited on here. Look, it's a channel I really love coming on. We have an absolute riot every time we stream together. I really enjoy it. So thanks for having me, lads.
No, absolute pleasure. It's always great fun having you on, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about all the usual suspects. We all know they've got nicknames on this channel when you come on here, so we're getting to things. But anyway, how's life? How's your streams and everything?
Yeah, it's look, can't complain, lad. You know me, I'm always in a positive mood. Always try and stay optimistic and positive. I believe you have to. And big up Killian Kelly. I hope things are well. But yeah, no, you always have to stay positive and optimistic, my man. So yeah, I'm all good. Have to say all good. Tottenham are top of the league as well. Arsenal rooted to the bottom. What more do you want, lad? What more do you want? Life is super good right now.
We've already got some of the Harris Army on. Killian from the Harris Army. He's in there. Coys, welcome on in. Alessio saying at Arsenal, Twain the rock bottom. We got some banter to come, but obviously, as we know, after 3 games, we always get a bit ahead of ourselves. Some fans obviously forget that there's another 35 games to go, but we got to enjoy it while it lasts. Of course, top of the league and Arsenal bottom. That's never happened before, so you know we got, like I said, we've literally got to enjoy it while it lasts.
No, look, it's never happened before. I get people are saying there's another 35 games to go. But just allow yourself to live in the moment. We had so much negativity last season. You know, we've had negativity really realistically since the Champions League final. Just allow yourself to get taken away and live in the moment. We're top of the league until the international break's over. So, look, you know, Arsenal give it to us when they're ahead of us. Liverpool fans give it to everyone in the league. You know, you'd swear they're the only team to ever win the league when they won it. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, what I'd say is just enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely. And 3-1-0 wins. What do you make of that? Do you make of that as solid performances, or do you make that as we're getting the job done? Because I would say, and I think you'd agree, we didn't play great against Wolves. We still got the win. Obviously, that's promising signs. But and I don't think we played amazing yesterday. But again, we got the job done. There was some highlight performances for sure, which we'll talk about. But what do you make of the scraping 1-0 wins?
Look, for me, I'm all for it. I couldn't care less. If we win 38 games 1-0 and you win the league, who gives a shit? Being honest with you. But look, for me, there are games that we wouldn't have held on to last year. We would have crumbled last year. We would have either drawn them or lost them. And I do think that the new fitness regime has a massive part to play in it. Everyone looks fitter, which then brings out better performances because, you know yourself, lads, I'm sure you play a ball as well, even if it's Astro. If you've had a big kebab the night before or something is sitting on the stomach, you're not as good. But if you've had a Caesar salad for lunch that day, you're absolutely flying. You know what I mean? So I do think the fitness regime has had a massive part to play in it. And I'm surprised with some of the upturn of some of the players. But look, it's all good. We're winning, and that's all that matters, especially keeping clean sheets. Last season was absolutely shambolic, dismal, you know, embarrassing, sort of clown behaviour going on. I thought I was a part of a circus last season. But look, this season we seem to have rectified a lot, and long may it continue.
Spot on. Couldn't agree much more with that. And agree definitely with the fitness stuff. Joe, what have you noticed differently from last season on top of what Dave just said there?
Just seem a lot more like positive and a bit more belief. Like you actually feel like you can hold on to a game. You know, Leeds now. Obviously, Dave was saying last year you'd crumble like against Wolves. Was it Pedro Neto right at the end, and it always felt like it was going to come like after one goal. Whereas now, you know, I'm not really expecting already Tottenham to bottle the lead. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say the performance has been amazing, but that's irrelevant. And when the teams are playing their best is when they get those results. You know, United were not very good against Wolves yesterday, but they still managed to scrape through. Obviously, I hope for your sake you can keep it up, but it's definitely positive signs. And you know, Nuno's impact's obviously obviously had a decent impact. Yeah.
And just to add to that, Jamesy, sorry, as well. If you look at it, right, we're not relying on Bobo the Clown or Mr. Hollywood anymore. We have Jaffet Manhandler Tanganga in there. Absolutely. So far, I think he's about 108 million in both of his side pockets. He doesn't have much more to put any more wingers in the Premier League in there. He's been absolutely brilliant, which means you're not getting exposed down that side of the wing anymore, which means, Dyer and Sanchez are being protected that way. Same with Reglan over the other side. He's not being bet as much as he was last season. So that's protecting him down that side. Again, not much more coming in the middle. But Ollie Skip coming in alongside Højbjerg. Last season, Højbjerg was trying to do it all himself. Endom Cheeseburgers, look, he's just not fit enough for the Premier League. It's Endom bye-bye for me. He's finished. But with Højbjerg and Skip coming in, they've really stopped teams attacking us straight through the middle like they were last season. Last season, I was pulling my hair out. I should be bald right now because the amount of times teams were just running at us straight down the middle without anyone making a challenge, beating 3-4 players. And at any professional level, that shouldn't happen because on a Sunday league, that doesn't happen. You just take them out, you take their ankles, give them the free kick. And that's what we're starting to do this year. You have Højbjerg in there, Skip in there. Even Dele Alli's work rate has been insane. Problems with him on the ball, but work rate has been insane tracking back. And that's also stopped our centre-backs because last season our centre-backs have been exposed down both sides of with balls coming into the box and straight through the middle. It's not happening.
So far, I would completely agree with that. And like you said about taking one for the team, Ollie Skip with a yellow card yesterday just brought the man down, I think 25 yards out. Gave away a free kick, but again, there wasn't much danger there. Obviously, some teams might punish you when giving away a free kick, but I think you're spot on. You got to take the man down in key moments when otherwise they just run straight through. Like you said, Sanchez and Dyer, they're not the most solid centre backs, but because they've got a bit more solidity in the middle, it is stopping a lot of attacks going through. So. I think that's completely spot on. I've just noticed a comment coming in from Granit Xhaka's burner account. He says, "You lot should be paying my wages. I'm great for your club." Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Granit Xhaka. I mean, he's an absolute clown. I mean, have you got any nicknames for him while we're at it, Dave?
No nicknames for Xhaka, to be honest. But look, he's more of an asset to Arsenal than what he is to Tottenham. Keep getting sent off, keep getting them, bookings and everything else, and keep getting Arsenal sent down to 10 men. And maybe I might send you over a little backhander Xhaka at the end of the season.
Spot on. John Murphy, welcome on in. Don't know if this is the Harris Army. I'm sure it is, but he said only 3 games players have to adjust to the new manager. So with 3 wins, it should not matter how we played. Still a lot of time, and I think that's one of the key points to take away. There is we may not have played well, especially against Wolves and Watford wasn't amazing yesterday, but we're getting the results, which is positive. And I would take a 1-0 away at Palace next week or in 2 weeks' time. That's how if that's how it's going to go. I remember one year Chelsea. I mean, I'm not getting ahead of myself at all. I'm not saying we're going to win the league or anything like that. But I'm saying sometimes the teams at the top do not win pretty. Like I remember one year Chelsea when they won the league. I think it was under Conte. They were just winning 1-0, 2-0, like every game. At the end of the day, if you get the 3 points, that's all that matters, right? If you're a Man City, you can win 5-6-0. That's just what you can do, right?
Everyone can. How Arsenal played, that was shambolic, embarrassing. I felt sorry for him.
But when it comes to the likes of Man City, they started off by winning, just getting wins under the belt, and then started bringing in the better players and starting trashing teams. Tottenham now just need to start getting the wins under the belt. After that, then you can start bringing in better players to start annihilating teams 4 or 5-0.
Absolutely spot on, and if we're in a good position by Christmas, we might be able to attract those players to push us on in January, the January transfer window, because it is a key. Well, it's right in the middle of the season, right? So if we need an extra centre midfielder, get rid of Ndumbergers, like you said. It doesn't look like he's going this window, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because I know the guy doesn't want to be at the club. I know he's got potential, but the thing is, if a player doesn't want to be there, I don't know if you guys agree, there is no point hanging on to him, right? So no matter if it's Kane and Ndombele, like whoever it may be, just get the fee and get them out of there, because then that causes like a domino effect in the club. I mean, Ndombele shouldn't make much of a difference, but say it was a first team player like we've had with Eriksen and Kane, then that can affect, the team gel, the team, everything about the morale in the camp. So I think get rid of Ndombele as soon as possible, personally.
look, when it comes to this guy, he'd rather chalk ice than the goal running. Let's be honest. For me, I'm fed up with him. It's not school. Oh, I want to leave because, Concrete Sissoko's gone and Bobo the Clown is leaving, so I want to leave. It's not school. You're a man. You're paid $200K a week. Just get out there, train, and when you're given your chance, perform. Stop all this crying in the background, moaning, you know what I mean, sitting in the canteen trying to pull him out from his plate of chips to get him out to train. I'm fed up with it. Look, everyone can say, oh, he's moved to London, he's had a kid and everything else. I don't care. At the end of the day, he's paid $200,000 a week. That everything else should be put in place with that money off the field to make sure he performs on the field. I get it, coming to London. Look, compared to Ireland, the food is cheap. There's a lot available, a lot of different choices. It is easy to get carried away with the food over there. I know that myself. At the end of the day, he's an athlete. The least you expect from him is to be fit. I'd go 4 different managers, 4 results. Pochettino got him in. Pochettino's known for his fitness. Could not get him to run. Mourinho came in. Okay, got him on the field. But when you're looking at him, he's coming on after 4 minutes and he's guzzling water and sweating like he's after having a shower. You're looking at me like, what's wrong with you? 4 minutes. 4 minutes, like. You know what I mean? And then you look at Mason came in, dropped him for the cup final. Didn't really play him. Then you have Nuno coming in, same problems again. Okay, he got him to train this time. He got him to start eating some lettuce and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if it's not right up here, you're never going to make it. You look at Adel Taarabt. You look at that guy that used to play for United, Raval Morrison. You can have all the ability you want. If you don't have it up here and you can't organise yourself, you're not motivated, well then, all you're going to be is one of them players as a journeyman. And look, it might suit Ndombele because he can go to Asia and have some Asian food. He can go to America and have some whatever, grill food over there. Go to Australia and try some barbecue. You know what I mean? There's all these cuisines around the world, so it probably would suit him to be journeyman. But I'm at the point now where I'm just finished. I'm finished with this guy. I used to call him Endom Bad Boy, Endom Baller, but all he's getting now is Endom Burgers and Endom Bye Bye. I'm finished with him. I've had enough. If you're not coming to Tottenham Hotspur and you don't care about the club and you don't wear that badge with the same passion that someone like us would, well then get out. I don't want you here. At the end of the day, even if you don't love the club and you're out there putting in performances for 90 minutes, I can accept that. But what I can't accept is paying someone $200K a week to sit on the bench, and then grab a drive-through on the way home from McDonald's. I can't do it any longer with this guy.
Spot on. I don't even know what to say because it's completely right. If a player doesn't want to play for the club, why sit on our wage bill, like you said, $200,000 a week or whatever it is he's on, and not want to play? It's ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to do it in a normal day job. So why do these players think they can do it just because they're in football? That's what confuses me. And the fact this guy thinks he's honestly going to get a move to Bayern Munich shocks me. He cannot get in that Bayern Munich team. I'm sorry. He just can't.
He wouldn't even get a move to McDonald's, man, at this moment in time because they'd be afraid he'd eat his salary, let alone get a move to a top club in Europe.
Anyway, we'll move on to the game yesterday. I'll start with Joe this time, but if he's not going to lag out. But who were the standout performances, do you think, yesterday, guys? Obviously, I'll start with Joe. Who sprung, as a wow factor yesterday?
The thing is, other than I was watching you a lot in pre-season and stuff, and I think Lucas has been great, but I wouldn't say you've had too many amazing individual performances. It seems like you're all working quite well as a squad, which I like. Nuno is very good at doing that at Wolves. They were all, singing from the same hymn sheet. And I've seen the same thing again with your wide wingers at Wolves. It was just, to the wing backs, and they constantly switch the play, and you're doing that and wearing teams down when you do have possession of the ball. I don't think Kane was unbelievable yesterday, but I feel like he's going to still perform amazing and get at least 20 goals again. I know it was Passos Ferreira, but the fact he slotted straight back in and was scoring straight away, it's just he's a guy that you're going to get 100% from regardless of where he wants to be. Obviously Watford are actually defending quite deep at the beginning, and it was quite lucky how that goal went in. I don't know what the goalkeeper was doing now. Obviously you root for him, but you're always going to win that game. And yeah, I think it was okay. I kind of fear a little bit for the international breaks. You've got so much momentum behind you. So, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a reset after. And Palace would be a big test as well because obviously Wolves last year, you couldn't hold on to the lead and Palace was another one. 2 years in a row at Selhurst Park, that's been 1-1 after taking the lead. So that would be a big test. But yeah, straight away, the how you're playing compared to last season is just night and day. You're playing as a squad. Whereas last year, there's people letting you down and people having to compensate for others. Whereas everyone's kind of doing their job at the moment.
Yep, spot on. In terms of Harry Kane, do you guys think there won't be any issues for the rest of the season? Do you think he might go in January, or do you think he's here to stay and put 100% in for the rest of the season?
Not going midway through the season. Sorry.
Harry Kane. Look, for me, Harry Kane, greatest number 10 in world football, king of the lane, all that sort of jazz. Look, for me, I think his move to City is gone. I think it's over and done with. What I will say is potentially he will be in a move next summer. You look at it alongside, Haaland. You look at the clubs around Europe who'll be looking for that big striker. Inter Milan, they'll probably sort out the financial issues. They'll be looking to replace Lukaku next summer. You have Real Madrid. Barcelona will be looking for top striker. If Mbappe goes, PSG will want to replace him. So they might look for a Haaland or a Kane and push Neymar and Messi out a bit wider. Juventus, Ronaldo's going. They'll be looking to replace him probably next summer. So you're talking about 5 or 6 of the top elite clubs looking for, a Harry Kane and Erling Haaland next summer. So, look, right now, it's solved. We have him for another season. And just hopefully then this season we can convince him to stay. A bit like Lionel Messi at Barcelona. He wanted to go last summer. This summer he actually wanted to stay, but ended up having to go. For me, look, I just think with the Harry Kane saga, if we were to even sell him over the next 2 days or even over the last couple of weeks, I would have been fuming. I would have been fuming selling him anyway. But earlier on, I would have understood it because you have time to get your replacements in, get them into preseason, get them to settle and get a new philosophy. But with Harry Kane, if you sell him now, Nuno starting from scratch all over again. The squad starting from scratch all over again, and you don't want to do it. For me, I think it's important that we keep Harry Kane. And look, I hear a lot of this nonsense. I know a lot of people are fed up. They're pissed off with Harry Kane and everything else. But just forgive him, forget it, and move on. He's committed himself for the season. It's all we can ask. And let's be honest, if you're Harry Kane, right, and you're up there scoring all them goals, and you look back, and especially last season, you see Harry Stinks not making a challenge. Mr. Hollywood being done out on the right-hand side every time. Mr. Anonymous, a.k.a. Davies, being done out on the left-hand side every time. You had GPS Sanchez and Moon Boots Dyer, didn't know where the ball was and being done week in, week out. You had, like I said, you had Endon Burgers in the middle who was looking at the ball like he wanted to eat it rather than running after it. So for me, look, so much has changed coming into this season. And I do think now that you're not seeing Harry Stinks, Bobo the Clown, Mr. Hollywood, Endon Burgers, Concrete Feet, Sissoko, now that you're not seeing any of these players anymore and you're not having to rely on them, even on the bench, for me, I think is a huge plus. And I think if we can get in another 1 or 2 in January and have a very good season this season, potentially we can persuade Harry Kane to see out his career at Tottenham.
Spot on. In terms of quickly touching on one of the things you just said there about sort of, the 1 or 2 replacements, do you think that, when we've got Paratici, that's quite likely to happen in January? Do you think we will sign players that will impact the season, or do you think it will be more of a summer job?
Look, the January transfer window, it's always hard for everybody. You never really see too many big deals. But one thing I will say is we've got Paratici in. This guy knows how to get a deal done. You look at the deals he's done so far, lads. Scalini doesn't have to be paid for another 2 seasons. Romero's not being paid until next summer. And, so you look at the terms of them 2 deals, brilliant piece of business by him. Brian Hill, he managed to get Lamela going the opposite way in the deal. I don't know how he managed that. So now that we have Paratici in charge, I would say January we could definitely get in 1 or 2 signings. If we had Steve Hitchin, I'd just be afraid that he'd be saying to Daniel Levy, yeah, we can get Skriniar and going out to Milan Fashion Week and looking at the Parada models coming down the catwalk again. So at least now that we have Paratici, I definitely think we will get transfers in the door.
Milan Fashion Week, brilliant. In terms of like clearing the deadwood, like you said, like Lamela, and obviously Lamela being a key one, Sissoko going. Are you happy with this clear out, or do you think we should have cleared out more?
Look, obviously, I would like to clear out more. We still have 2 days left if we can get another 1 or 2 happy days. But look, with Paratici coming in, no one can sit here and tell me they thought he was going to be able to do everything in 1 window. If he did, honestly, the guy deserves, to be knighted by the Queen or something like that. But it was never going to happen. So for me, the fact that he's managed to get rid of a Lamela, You know, Mr. Cricket, Joe Hart, I was sick of seeing his cricket videos coming out in the dressing room. I'm sitting there and I'm like, we're losing. And these guys are playing cricket. You know what I mean? We're losing and they're playing cricket. What's going on? So thank God he's gone. You know, we have Golini, the rapper, in now, so he'll be able to entertain the boys in the dressing room while they're out training. So that's brilliant. So for me, look, I would like to see Bobo the Clown gone, Orier. I really would. For me, I just think he's just so disruptive in the dressing room. I want him gone. Mr. Hollywood, a.k.a. Doherty, look, this guy, I think he'll end up staying at Tottenham. I do think he'll end up staying here for another season. I think it'd be hard to sell him. Obviously, Sissoko's gone. We got rid of Alderweireld. And look, I know some people are maybe not happy with that. But look, the guy was 33, hitting 34. His legs wasn't going to last much longer in the Premier League. You could see he was already declining last season. So for me, getting rid of him and getting in, the main man himself, Romero, who's going to absolutely eat defenders alive, I think that was another shrewd bit of business as well. Obviously, look, we would like more gone, but Paratici can't do everything in the one window. Just one player I would like to see gone, and just purely because I'm sick of people defending this guy, and for so little he does, is Harry Stinks. The guy just has to go. He has to go. He's not strong enough to be in midfield. He won't take the ball on the half turn, which means he's constantly passing back or sideways. Because when you take the ball on the half turn, it opens up the pitch and you can spot passes forward. You can see the runners. He won't do that. And the reason why he won't do it is because he's afraid of the contact as well. So for me, this guy has to go. I'm sick of the divide this guy brings to the fan base. People need to wake up. He is absolutely useless. He's not good enough. If Calvin Phillips is getting 1 year in the Premier League and replacing him in the European squad for England, well, what does that tell you? Get him gone. I really want him and Bobo the Clown gone this before the window closes.
So in terms of this comment here, is that who Harry Winks is, Mr. Easy Pass?
Yeah, Mr. Easy Pass. One of my followers, Dark Sun J, I'll give him credit. He likes to come in. He loves nicknames, and sometimes gives his own nicknames too. So he's nicknamed the Mr. Easy Pass just because he does take the easy option.
But I don't want to cause too much controversy on it, because I completely agree. I think Harry Winks needs to go now. You know, he's been living off that Real Madrid game as we discussed last time, I believe, and you know, he's been living off a few good performances. But then this is where it comes as a but. There is fans that were saying, "Oh, see, Harry Winks played great against Pacos de Ferreira." Do you think there is still life in him? What did you make of that performance?
You look at the first leg. Right? What did he do? We're 1-0 down, right? We're looking to go and get a goal. Now, he's supposed to be not just him, but he's supposed to be the experienced players out there, along with Doherty, Davies, and Lo Celso, right? Everyone else, you have a couple of new signings and a couple of youngsters. Now, when you're them sort of players, it's up to you to be on your game and let the rest of them players settle in around you and go for the game. Now, there's no excuse for it, because I've watched Spurs teams when we were getting into Europa League or the UEFA Cup at the time. We were annihilating teams with under 18s, under 19s out. So there should be no excuse for these sort of performances. And with the likes of Harry Winks and especially Ben Davies as well, with these two, right? Now, we're starved for trophies at Tottenham. We all know this, right? Now, how do you expect to win trophies when Harry Winks and Ben Davies played against Colchester? We went out in the League Cup that time. Harry Winks and Ben Davies played against Zagreb. We went out of that last year. They also played against Antwerp, and now they played against Pacos de Ferreira. Now, if that was one game, we were out. Now, if we want to win cups and we're saying, oh, yeah, well, we can't win the league, so we'll go after the League Cup, the FA Cup, and whatever European competition we're in, how do you expect to win them when you're supposed to be relying on these guys? Now, these guys as well are players that people defend and say, oh, they're backups. These are the games they should be playing in. But then they lose them. So what's the point of having them? For me, I would rather put the youngsters out there and let them make the mistakes than what Harry Winks should be making. Look, Harry Winks had a good game against Real Madrid 4 or 5 years ago. Give me a break. You know, a good game in the second leg against Pacos de Ferreira. He made one tackle and put the ball down the line. Now, why doesn't he do that every time he plays? That's what he should be doing.
And spot on. And the worrying thing is that is the sort of level of opposition he does play right against. And I know what you're saying, that first leg was shocking, but I don't think we should be praising him too much on the fact that he's played a ball down the left-hand side where there was no right back for them for some reason. It's gone straight to Brian Hill, who's then crossed it. I mean,
Brian Hill made him look good. Brian Hill made him look good by getting onto the end of that and putting the cross in.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? Do you think it's harsh on Harry Winks, or do you agree with us in terms of he needs to move on?
Definitely needs to leave. He had one good game against last year's, fourth best team in Portugal. Like, I don't mean funny. this is a guy that's played for England. This is a guy, whatever. I've heard he's been offered to Leeds as well, and Bielsa didn't even want him. So like Bielsa's turning down the chance to sign him, which is
he doesn't work hard enough.
He's a guy I respect and trust his opinion a lot else. And the fact he's not even interested and they're going for a Huddersfield midfielder instead, it says it all. I think Winks has got to go. I think you've done really well in terms of, shifting out Deadwood. It's been an amazing window for you guys, to be fair. There's obviously going to be a few stragglers, but, he needs to go. I wouldn't even trust playing him. I know he's played a few games, but there's so many players I'd give a go ahead of him. He's just got to get gone. Him and Aurier. I think Aurier's leaving as well. I think the fact that you've agreed a fee for this Emerson kind of surely confirms that one right back's going. I think it's going to be Aurier because he wants to go back to France, and good riddance to the guy.
But as well with Harry Winks, look, you can't trust him to come into these games anymore. The results are there. The results are there when he's played these games. You cannot trust him. Look, at the end of the day, he believes too much in his own ego. Look, before you would have had the excuse, look, he's homegrown, he has to stay, this, that, and the other. There's no excuse anymore. Harry Winks or Ollie Skip, Tanganga, they've both come in. You have Alfie Whiteman, who stuck around. He's third choice goalkeeper as far as I'm aware. So you don't need him for the homegrown quarter anymore. After that, what does he offer to the team? Absolutely jack shit. There's no way Ollie Skip should be going out on loan to Norwich and coming in and getting into the first team ahead of Harry Winks. How many years has Harry Winks been in around this first team? So that should tell everything we need to know. But not only that, look, the guy, he doesn't want to improve either. You look at him, right? I could have said to him 3 years ago, you need to improve your physicality. You need to be more physical in midfield. He doesn't want to do it, especially in the Premier League. In the likes of Spain or that, he might get away with it. But in the Premier League, it's where the most ball is turned over in the middle of the park. You can't have someone lightweight like him. And it's getting to the point where teams... I actually said before the first leg of the Pacos game, I've done my research. Pacos, they're aggressive in midfield and they look to turn the ball over. And I said in my preview, the night before the first leg, that I would worry Harry Winks playing there because if their manager is any smart, he will target Harry Winks, get aggressive around him, take the ball off him, and that's where they'll get their try. Funny enough, that's where they actually got their goal from. Now, if a lad from Ireland, can predict that the night before a game, what is going on? Surely Harry Winks should know that that's coming. He should know that that's coming, and he should be able to deal with it. But look, it's like Tom Carroll 2.0. Tom Carroll lasted at Tottenham until he was 24. Everybody knew he wasn't going to be good enough to succeed. Now it's time to cut the crap with Harry Winks. Stop this sentimental thing. We're all talking about trophies. If we want to go and win trophies and we want to compete with the likes of a Liverpool, United, City, Chelsea, we have to cut the crap with these players. Liverpool wouldn't put up with Harry Winks sitting around there for 4 or 5 years. United wouldn't, Chelsea wouldn't, and neither would City. After a year, they'd say, you're not good enough, you're gone. So why do we have to do it at Tottenham? Just get him gone, cut the crap.
Absolutely.
That's literally what I was about to say. Like, it depends on what sort of team you want to be, because homegrown, it's a big thing for those clubs. Liverpool, United especially, City don't really have anything about them. Same as Chelsea. They just keep all their players in a loan trap. But, United and City, they have the homegrown players. They give them a chance and they get a lot more of an opportunity than most of the players do. But if they're not good enough, then they're gone. Like, that's your chance. And the reason that they perform, the reason like stars like Trent have come through is because there's that pressure. And if you're not good enough, you get, shipped out. And if Winks hasn't got the pressure to perform and he knows he can just stick around and get another, contract extension and be amongst the, the Tottenham lads, then he's not going to improve. So 100% agree.
That's spot on. What you've said about Liverpool there is actually spot on, because you think of the likes of Solanke who got moved on. You think of Harry Wilson who's just got moved on. They've had those few years of getting sort of squeezed into the first team in some cup games. You get to assess if they're good enough. Would you agree, Joe? That's the kind of thing that's happening with Harry Winks. Although Harry Winks has actually had so much more time than those players I've just mentioned. Yeah, we still haven't realised he's not good enough. So it's almost like what Liverpool do, but Tottenham decide to just keep them in and sort of play them in a couple of Prem games or a couple of Europa League conference games. But we're still realising Harry Winks is not good enough for this team. So
yeah, I mean, the academy players is one thing, but I mean, even like homegrown, because I know Harry Winks is, born and bred around Tottenham. I'm talking, like if you're a Scouser in Liverpool, the fans give you so much more of a chance. I remember obviously Gerrard was the main one. Everyone loved him, but we had Ricky Lambert, loves the club. He wasn't good enough, so he got sent out really early on in his career and did that weird homecoming, which didn't really work out. We got a nice penalty in the Carabao Cup. And I'm trying to think of players like Jordan Rossiter. You know, he scored a big goal and everyone was raving about him, and he got moved on, and now he's playing somewhere in like Rangers or not even that. Jay Spearing got given a chance when he really shouldn't have done, but that's because he's a homegrown. But you know, they got moved on, and that's what you got to be more ruthless than that. Because if you're a team that's got a winning mentality and, you know, wants to achieve the best, then it's irrelevant where you come from. You might get a bit more of a chance, but, you know, it's ruthless, it's cutthroat. That's how it is. That's the business. So the fact you're keeping him around is just, you know, it's ruining and filling the position of an academy player that could thrive in that role.
The only thing Harry Winks is good for is being on a poster in a 16 or 17-year-old girl's bedroom. That's it. He's not a footballer.
Oh, my goodness. Run through a couple of comments quick because we've got a lot of the Harris Army in here. So we've got Wesley going, hashtag Harris Army. Welcome on in, mate. Pleasure to have you in over from Dave's channel. We've got Jack Jiganson. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He says, hello, lads. Greetings from Malaysia. So welcome on in as well. And also we've got Chad in. He says, shout out from South Africa, gents. Big ups to yourself. And he's saying Harry Winks is not good enough. Basically just echoing our thoughts here. JG says, spot on. Tom Carroll vibes off to Swansea. Wolf said, but Winks is so cute. A bit like what Irish Hotspur is saying, it's his only use. Stinky is saying, it's not snowing up in your channel via iPad. I think that's in relation to this comment, which says, I saw you on the phone and can only access my phone, not my iPad. My eyes can't focus on this small stuff. You can always find us on YouTube if you're trying on Facebook potentially, but I'm not too sure on that comment.
What I'd say to you, Stinky, is no excuse. I was streaming on my phone up until 3,500 subscribers. No excuse, man. Just stick on the glasses. Just stick on the glasses. I'm sure you'll see it just fine, man.
Adam says Harris Army as well. Big up to yourself, Adam. So I think that's caught up on the comments. Someone put something about Troy Deeney's just left Watford, so we'll probably get those links again.
I think he's going to Birmingham.
I mean, if he's anywhere near the Premier League again, there's some serious problems. But anyway, we've covered sort of the Watford game. We've sort of covered obviously Harry Winks and gone off on one of them. In terms of like any performances where you were a bit concerned yesterday, I know there was a bit of talk over Hugo Lloris. What were your thoughts on Lloris's performance?
I don't know where the concerns are coming from. He had one shot on target to face yesterday out of 5. 5 shots, 1 on target. I don't understand where the concerns are coming from, to be honest with you.
I saw a bit of talk in terms of people saying Galini should be given a chance soon, but I'm with you. I think Lloris is solid, and there will be question marks when he does make that, 1 or 2 mistakes. But what are your thoughts on that if he does make a mistake in the next few games?
Do you know, it's a tough situation because no one knows what he wants to do. For me, it looks like it's clear he wants out of Tottenham after this season. He's 1 year left on his contract. And Galini, the way Galini was brought in, so he's here for a 2-year loan practically, with an option to buy. But if he plays a certain amount of games, that obviously triggers the 15 million and we have to pay it as soon as. But with Galini, he's coming and he's clearly pushing for that number 1 jersey again because we don't know what's going on with Lloris. But right now, Lloris is club captain. You stick with him, especially when things are going well. Look, Lloris made his 300 Premier League appearance the other day. Don't get me wrong. Last season was a bit hit and miss for him. He made a few errors. But if you look from when he signed from 2012 to now, I think he's been an unbelievable servant for Tottenham and an unbelievable goalkeeper. He's restored my faith in goalkeepers, to be honest with you. I grew up watching the likes of Ian Walker. That guy was a clown. You know what I mean? Lloris really restored my faith in goalkeepers. And look, 3 clean sheets. For me, you don't change it. If it's not broken, you don't fix it.
Exactly. What about Casey Keller, Dave?
Yeah, look, do you know what? I've seen that guy put in a couple of good performances, but then was useless as well at times. Aurelio Gomez was a bit the same. I actually think Aurelio Gomez is a bit of a cult hero, to be honest with you. But no, Lloris has really restored my faith in goalkeepers. I used to grow up, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, why do we have to have these guys in goals? Why can't we just go out and buy a proper goalkeeper? And we got the job done. And when Lloris came to us, he could have went to any club around Europe. Everyone was chasing him. He chose Tottenham Hotspur. And I think now maybe is the time where we have to maybe pay that bit of faith back to him that he's paid us all over the years.
I still think he's a world-class keeper. I really do. He's a great shot stopper. Sometimes people question his distribution. But at the end of the day, like you said, 3 clean sheets. There's nothing to complain about at the moment. And like I said, I did see some people saying about Galini being given a chance. But I think run him out in the cup games. Galini is clearly a good a good keeper, see what he does in the cup games, and then if an injury happens to Lloris or something seriously happens in terms of some really bad form, then obviously we'll have to think about it. But for now, Hugo is our number one, and like you said, he's been a fantastic servant to the club.
Can I just say something else on that quickly? Right, last season, people were going mad about Jose. He's dropping this player, he's bringing in this player, no reasons for it. How are you supposed to build confidence, this, that, and the other? And now they want Nuno now just to take Lloris out and put Chiellini in. What do we want as Spurs fans? You can't one season say, a manager's doing this, he's destroying confidence, he's doing everything else. And then now when we have a new manager in who's given them all the confidence, now you want him to start doing what Mourinho was doing last season. My mind is blown sometimes. It really is blown sometimes as a Spurs fan. But for me, you stick with Hugo Lloris, and like you said, until there is an injury. You don't just take him out like that. You stick with him until there's an injury.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. We've got a question here from Jack who says, are we going to sign Emerson? That is literally done. Deal agreed. Fabrizio said deal agreed with Barcelona. I believe I'm hearing £30 million. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, he's a 22-year-old right back, Brazilian. He's had a 2-year loan spell at Real Betis. That's where I recognised him from. I'm hearing good things about him. I'm not going to start pretending I know everything about him because I don't. But obviously, it's promising signs in terms of, like you said, Bobo the Clown can then exit. Would you, if this guy does come in, which is obviously looking very likely, deal agreed. Do you guys think that Tanganga still deserves that right back spot?
Yeah, I definitely do, 100%. Look, you look at him. He had Grealish and Sterling up against him, 100 million man plus whatever that little fraud Sterling went for. He pocketed the two of them. The two of them got no change out of him. They gave him 50 million and didn't even get a cent back. You know what I mean? Then you go to Wolves. Okay, he had a tough game against Adama Traore, but most fullbacks do against Adama Traore. He's just one of them unique powerhouses. But then yesterday, I'll be honest, what did he have to do? Absolutely nothing. But the one thing I did want to see from him, look, defensively, I know he's great. Even last season when he was getting his chances, I was campaigning for him to get more games. I think defensively he's spot on. But going forward is now where people are maybe questioning him because and Emerson is that sort of fullback now. He'll come in, he'll provide more going forward. But Tanganga is starting to learn that. But maybe, just maybe, if Emerson comes in, Tanganga could form a partnership with Romero at centre-back eventually. Because long term, I do actually see Tanganga as a centre-back. But right now, he's filling in. And I think so far, he's undroppable. With full-backs nowadays, right? Back in the day, you used to have your winger coming back and helping you. So effectively, you were less exposed. Now you're expected to defend 1-on-1, 2-on-1. And Tanganga can do that. So now for me, it's just about picking the games. The likes of the bigger games, I'd be playing Tanganga. Some of the smaller games, maybe like yesterday, I'd be playing an Emerson to get further forward.
Yeah, spot on. And I think it probably will depend on the game as well, Dave, right? In terms of if you need a more defensive right back, Tanganga might be your man. But in terms of the games where you want, to play a fullback like, Reguilon, but on the right back, you might go with Emerson. Only time will tell in terms of what happens with that. But Wolf's saying here, can't remember what club he was at. It was Real Betis.
It was Real Betis.
But I was just about to agree with this guy in the chat. Like that's what I see him doing. He loves the back five. And yeah, he's played pretty much every La Liga game at Real Betis over the last 2 years. He's looked really good. So I think it's a decent fee, decent deal. Hopefully he'll work well. I don't know if he played there when the Celso was there, but there's a little bit of a link up there. And yeah, I think Tanganga right centre back is going to be the way forward. And I think, to be fair, it could work really well. And could be a natural integration into him being a centre half. And I think that's where he should be in the future. He's shown it at right back, but he's got to emulate Ledley King for you guys. That's what you keep saying that he is.
He is Ledley. Even down to his injury problems, he's Ledley King. Never diss him, man. Never ever diss the manhandler, lad. Never.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Actually, if we do. And I asked this on one of the other podcasts, and I'm going to get Dave's feedback in a minute, but I always thought the Nuno's plan was to start off with 4 at the back and then move to a 5. And I think if that is the case, like Joe's saying, right centre-back Tanganga, you'd see Romero at centre-back probably. And then do you play, or maybe even Dyer or Sanchez as the centre-back, and then obviously Romero, the other one, and then like we could see this Emerson right wing back and Reguilon left wing back. That sounds pretty good to me. But let's see. But yeah, like you said, Tanganga is undroppable at the moment. The guy is playing 9 out of 10 I would argue every single game so far, maybe even the 10 out of 10 against Man City. The guy was unbelievable. And I almost couldn't believe my eyes how easy he was finding it. Like, he was bullying Grealish. Grealish could not get into that game. The only time he was getting joy was in the first 10 minutes. And other than that, Tanganga literally dealt with everything that was coming at him. It was unbelievable.
Even against Arsenal, lad, it was like an action movie. You know, he manhandled in pre-season. He manhandled the fullback, and then Xhaka tried to jump on his back when he squared it to Sonny. He just threw him off as well. It was like an action movie. I thought I was watching James Bond at times.
Got Bob Scotch in here for the Harris Army as well. Big up yourself, Bob. And again, these guys are saying that he can play right back and right hand. And I think that's great as well, that we know he can play fullback. I remember the game against, I believe it was Middlesbrough, correct me if I'm wrong, last season in the Cup. And he came on and he was right back. And everyone's saying, why is he playing right back? You know, why is Tango playing right back? I remember he bombed down that wing 2 or 3 times. I think he hit the post on one of them. And I think did he assist the other one, the other goal, one of the other goals. But he just kept running. And the fact that people are questioning his forward ability, I would agree. However, we do know that it is there. Like, if he's feeling, like you said, in that action movie kind of mindset, he can run down that wing. And I know he's a big guy, and you're thinking, well, normally the more agile guys, normally the smaller guys, you know, like the Reguilon builds are the ones that are going to go down that wing. But we know that Tanganga can actually do that as well. So let's not be mistaken about that either. Grealish, £100 million player. Now that's Lucas. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the question and answers. We asked on our Instagram to send in a few questions for the Irish Hotspur. Oh, no, before I do that, do you see a 5 at the back coming, Dave?
Do you know what? For me on this, look, if you look at Nuno, his last season at Wolves, he actually did play a back 4. And I do believe he is trying to look at that system. But what I will say is you look at some of the signings that come in, especially, you know, Romero used to playing in a back 5. I do think there's definitely an element that is toying with it. For me, what I would like to see is, you've seen it against Pacos de Ferreira in the second leg. On the team sheet, it was a back 5, right? You know, 3 centre-backs with 2 wing-backs. But if you actually look at it when we were going forward, it was actually a 4-2-3-1. Sessegnon played high up on the left. I can't remember who was on the right now. But, you know, you had Galini playing in that free role in front of Harry Kane. Going out left, going out right. He was playing in that free role, and actually was turning into a 4-2-3-1. But I would actually like the use of both formations, because against the likes of a Chelsea, you're going to have to match them up man for man and just try something there. I do believe they're going to be Premier League champions. But I would like to have the option of playing both systems. I really would. And you look, Doherty's a right wing back. Emerson will come in. He can play a right wing back as well. Reguilon played left wing back at Sevilla. You know, so everything there, you do have the makings to be able to play that way. But for me, I would just like to have the fluidity between a 4 and a 5. And maybe what I think Nino's master plan is being able to switch that during games depending on when it's needed and when it's not.
Yeah, that's a very good point you make at the end. Exactly that. We don't have to go out and say we're playing a 5 at the back. We can switch it in game depending on, you know, how the game's going, if we're winning the game, if we need to push forward, you know, with more forward thinking fullbacks. Absolutely spot on there. So the first question in terms of the Q&A, guys, I'm going to put the comment in the chat. I'm going to bring it up. The first one is from Sahaj on Instagram, and he said, do you think Tomiyasu and Aarons are way better than Emerson? I'm definitely not convinced on him. Now, who wants to kick us off with that? Because I think he has made some good points. Tomiyasu was so heavily linked all window, like for the last, month or 2? And Aaron's not so much linked, but obviously Tomiyasu's the main one here. Do you think Emerson ticks those boxes like Tomiyasu did? Because everyone was getting really excited over that.
I think Emerson will be good. I think he'd be a good player. He's looked good for Betis. He played in the Copa America for Brazil, which is a big thing as well, like being in part of that squad. If he wasn't good enough, he'd be in the Olympic squad over that. So I think he's going to get a lot of assists as well. Like the way he plays is literally you're rebuilding, like, you know, a new look Wolves, 5 at the back. You're going to have him at the right. Your 2 midfielders, if it's going to be Højbjerg and Skip, it's, you know, the new Moutinho and Neves, and you got the 3 up top. So I think Emerson's going to just be swinging them in. He's going to be doing really well on the wing back. I think he fits your team better. I think Aarons is decent, but I don't think he'd work in your team. And I haven't seen a lot of the other guy, but I think hopefully this Emerson's going to be decent. I don't know what Dave thinks.
For me, look, look, Max Aarons, I do think he's one for the future. I do think potentially he will end up being a bit like Kyle Walker, maybe when he does reach 27, 28, that sort of age. I do actually rate Max Aarons. Tomiyasu, I'm a fan of too, believe it or not. Look, he can play centre-back, he can play right-back. I think that would have been the ideal signing for Tottenham. To be honest with you, kind of one signing, it's killing two birds with one stone. That's what they say, isn't it? So I do think that would have been a good deal. But look, Emerson is a player that I really like. I think he's very good on the ball. As James says, going forward, I do think he will get the assist. He knows how to cross the ball. And he's pretty solid defensively as well. Now, I did watch him a few times last season. Consistency for me would probably be the problem with this guy. But look, at Tottenham, I think he's going to fit in just fine. Look, it's better than watching Mr. Hollywood and Bobo the Clown every week.
What you were saying about Tomiyasu and his versatility, centre back, right back? We had the Euro expert on a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying he can even play left back as well. Do you think, in the sense that flexibility of where Tomiyasu could play, that's where we're going wrong? And I completely hear what you guys are saying. You both think Emerson will be a good signing, but what I'm saying is, like you're saying, killing two or three birds with one stone. Do you think we've missed a trick there?
I do and I don't, Look, at the end of the day, I think the reason why we haven't got him is, I know people are saying the asking price, we're arguing over 2 million. I don't think that's probably the case. I think we probably would have got the deal done by now if that was the case. For me, with Tomiyasu, I don't know, I don't think we are going wrong, because for me, I would rather get specialists in that one position, specialists that know what they're doing. But then you look at the likes of Liverpool, how many players in their squad are actually flexible, and it seems to work in their favour a lot of the time as well with Jurgen Klopp. But right now, with such a rebuild, I think we just need to get in players for that proper position. And then after that, then you can start bringing in the likes of the flexible players who can fill in where you need them. But right now, because we needed such quality in the right positions, I think they've done right by going and getting Emerson. And maybe next summer or even in January, you can go and get Tomiyasu then to kind of fill up the spaces.
Yeah, spot on. Hopefully Tomiyasu is still available, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. This is all because of Paratici. Let's not forget that. Emerson hasn't been even talked about as a signing for more than a week, if that. I mean, the guy has completely come to a surprise for most people. I was only hearing about it, like I said, in the last week. And I know we've been talking about Tomiyasu for months, but that just shows that Paratici does have tricks up his sleeve. He has that, those connections that he can make deals happen very quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more signings before the end of the window, maybe 1 or 2 signings before the end of the window. How many days is left? Not many
Tuesday.
at all.
I think it ends
literally tomorrow night. Yeah.
Tomorrow. So like I said, I would not be surprised if we sign one more player. And even if we don't, I think we've had a really good window. And I don't think this would have been possible without Paratici. I really don't. I was quite concerned I remember saying in some of the videos in May, we are not going to have a good window. I completely take that back now. We have had a good window. Let's be honest. We've got rid of 3 or 4 of those deadwood players, like we're saying. And we have signed, 4 or 5 top quality players that are really going to improve the team. So I'm pretty happy with the window. I don't know about you guys.
Look, I do think he could be better. Obviously, I do think I would like to get another centre midfielder, if I'm honest. Someone that's more of a tempo setter, like what Michael Carrick used to do for us, in that deep role. That's because at times, what I've seen over the last 3 games is maybe not Watford, but City and Wolves, we've kind of struggled to keep the ball, and we're kind of architects of our own downfall at times. We're giving away the ball too cheaply, and it's just wave after wave after wave. I do think if you had that tempo setter in midfield, you would be able to stop a lot of that, because you can get someone who's comfortable on the ball, not afraid to go left or right with it and just slow things down. I don't think we have that player in the squad right now. I do think maybe Højbjerg could fill that role in the future after his masterclass of passing yesterday. But in terms of the window, I agree. I actually think it's been a very good window. I'll be honest with you. Look, we like you said, we've got rid of some deadwood, and we've got in Romero, Italian Serie A Defender of the Year. If he signed for United or City, they'd be absolutely jacking off to it. But because he signed for Tottenham, they don't want to mention it really. Galini. Now, if Hugo Lloris does go this summer, right, you look at it, rather than being extorted for a goalkeeper come the summer, we can just say, when we're not paying that, we have Galini. You know what I mean? If we do want to go for a goalkeeper. So we're not going to be extorted there, and we have that situation covered. Emerson coming in, if we can get him. You said it's a done deal. at right back, a huge plus. We needed someone there. You have Brian Hill, who I actually think is going to be a fantastic player.
He's looked really good. He's looked really good in those games.
For me, I actually think he's a love child between Modric and Messi. You know, when I looked at him, I just seen shades of Modric. When Modric first came into Tottenham, he played in that sort of free attacker midfielder role.
Yeah.
And he does exactly what Gill is doing. Is just picking up, just dropping into them spaces, receiving the ball, you know, and then make it look like you're static, and then just drop the shoulder and you're gone. You know what I mean? And for me, I think that's a very, very good signing. And then you look at it, you've got rid of Joe Hart, Toby Alderweireld, and agent Toby Alderweireld, and replaced him adequately with Romero. You know, you're looking at hopefully we've sold Sissoko, which was a huge plus, and hopefully Ori are going as well. So for me, I actually think we've had a very good window. Look, with Spurs fans, we just have to be patient because Paratici's not going to be able to do it all in one window. We had so much we needed to replace in this squad, so much. The squad became unbelievably stale. So, like some players here, 8-9 years without actually nailing down the first team spot. You can't be allowing that. Paratici has so much work to do, and he's begun it this summer, and I think next summer he'll more or less be finalised. And even Sarr, we've got like Sarr, Matar Sarr. He's going to be an absolute baller. People are talking about him, like, you know, comparing him to Pogba, this, that, and the other. But for me, I actually like it because we brought in a guy, Chris Perkins, over the summer, and his whole job was to identify the hottest talent from 16 to 21 around Europe and get them into Tottenham and find them a path and keep, like, you know, persisting with them. Right, this is what you need to do. You know, now you need to improve this part of the game and get them into the first team. So I think the whole Paratici project will take shape. We just need to give it longer.
Absolutely. And I think I'd like to say it's almost like half job done, but I don't think it is. But in terms of like the long term, like you're saying, signing those couple of really young players, you know, in Hill and Sarr, I think it's brilliant because we're not only thinking of the now signings, obviously Romero, Galini, but the future signings as well. It's great that we're thinking like that as well. I think spot on. Joe, do you have anything to add about the transfer window?
I think it's been a great window. The fact you've held on to Kane, you know, looked all against all odds, but you've done it anyway, regardless of how you felt about it. Obviously, he's a big Spurs boy, so he'll be happy staying anyway, or not happy staying, but you know, he'll still be happy playing for the club. I think that's the thing. You are preparing for the future, and you're doing a project, but I guess it's a bit more obvious than it was before. Like, you know, I know that Romero you've got in for what will be a big fee, but it's still a loan deal, so you're still preparing to sort it out in the future. And Sarr going back on loan is good. It's exciting times for you. I do think the fact that you've got Galini and Romero in on loan deals that are going to be paid either next season or the one after maybe does allude to the fact that Kane won't stay around for too long. But I don't want to cause any controversy. I do think he'll still leave. The power's been in Levy's hands this window, but as his contract runs down, he's not going to sign another one. So the power then goes to Kane. And I think you're going to want to cash in on him. But still, you know, you've given yourself time. You've got a whole season now to look at other people in the European market. And if you do decide to sell him, then, you know, you've got a lot of time to prepare. But I think it's been a really good window. There's a few more things that you probably could have gone out and got, but no one has the perfect window. And I think it's definitely a much better one than people were expecting towards May.
Yeah, I think that's the key point. Like, there's so much that this window has been so much better than I thought. Like, I was very negative about it, but obviously Paratici came in and like Dave was saying, the youth development and scouting those players, you know, it's worked fantastically. And we've even seen what's his name, Hitchin on the sideline, even getting passionate with with Paratici. It's almost like in that documentary, everyone was going to fall asleep talking about Steve Hitchin, but now suddenly he's going nuts on the sideline. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos.
He's such an imposter, though, isn't he, lad? He's such an imposter. You know, where was all this last season when there wasn't Paratici? Why is he now following Paratici around, doing exactly what this guy is doing? He's an imposter. He's just another slaphead idiot.
It's fun. I knew you weren't going to be happy when I commented on that, but anyway, we'll go through a few comments. Stinky saying Dyer's become a pillar of stability. I think that's one too far on that one. Logman said, "Hi everyone, mystery signing Tomiyasu," and he also said, scrolling down a bit more, great show, guys. Gotta go prepared for nothing to happen before the transfer window closes. See, I don't think we should be negative. I think one more thing will happen. One more signing will come out of the blue before tomorrow. I could be wrong. And this is what I wanted to touch on before the next question, actually. I can't remember who's put it here. Someone said Sabitz has gone to Bayern for 15 million. Now, I was talking to Joe about this yesterday. Dave, what do you think about that? Do you think we missed the trick there? Do you think we should have signed him?
Look, I would have loved to go for him. I think he's a brilliant player. Look, he doesn't exactly, he's not great in centre midfield. He doesn't throw his body around, but in terms of you can play him in the midfield three on the right, or, you know, you can play him a bit further up the field if you want. I think he's a lovely striker of the ball. I think what we're missing at Tottenham is someone that can actually pose a threat from outside the box. We're constantly looking to work the ball in the box. We don't have anyone that's willing to pull the peg from outside the box.
We don't have that Modric anymore.
Yeah, and you need players like that. You know, I've watched Liverpool and Chelsea growing up. They've had it all the time. United, they had it with Scholes as well. You need players who can pose a threat on the edge of the box as well. And for me, I think it is a shame we missed out on him. But realistically, I actually think that deal to Bayern was, we know how Bayern operate, was probably agreed a long time ago. We probably inquired and was told, look, keep it hush, but he's on his way to Bayern end off. I don't think it's a case that we didn't just go from. I think it's a case that Bayern had this one wrapped up early.
Yeah. And like you're saying, like, he's a player that sort of plays in the three on the right or the left. But do you think, not only, like you said, it might have been agreed earlier, but let's for argument's sake say it wasn't. Do you think we sort of went against it because, you know, Nuno's plan was to keep Dele Alli in the team, and obviously Dele Alli playing on the right side of that midfield three? Do you think it was a case of, well, let's put our, you know, faith back in Dele Alli?
No, I don't, to be honest with you. I don't. I just think it's a case look, Bayern Munich had it wrapped up early because we were linked with him, heavily linked with him. But I just do think it's a case of Bayern had it wrapped up early because, look, it's not like any other club you've seen going in from, and there was much talk about him. And usually when that happens, it is because the deal is wrapped up early. With in terms of giving Dele Alli another chance, I get it. It could possibly very well be the case, but my feelings on it is just that, you know, he has you know, it was wrapped up early for Bayern Munich.
I heard that he had three approaches, like he had three clubs to choose from. So Tottenham may well have been one of them, but, you know, I'm not being funny. You're not going to turn down Bayern Munich, are you? Especially when they've got the manager that was at Leipzig as well. Same as Upamecano going over, so he's kind of joining that little raid. So. Yeah,
Nagelsmann has obviously had a big part of this as well. Completely fine. And apparently SOF saying Sabitzer grew up as a Bayern fan. He would always choose them over any other team. Nagelsmann is the coach now. We're gonna just bring up one more thing because Dave has to go. But the last question of this video, very quickly, Dave, as I know you have to go, mate. But someone asked on Instagram, I can't remember who it was now, but it says, I think a few people have asked, where do you think Spurs are going to be at the end of the season? And I know it's it's an interesting one to wrap up on, but based on the 3 games that have happened, Dave, where are we saying Tottenham are going to finish now? We already know where Joe thinks they're going to finish. It's already caused a bit of a stir below Arsenal. But Dave, in terms of your predictions, what are you thinking, my man?
I'm about to cause a bit of a stir here with Joe. I actually think we're going to get top 4 at the expense of Liverpool. I really do. Look, we're looking at Tottenham, right? We still have to get Harry Kane back in the team properly. We still have to get Romero into the team. You're still looking at fitting Brian Hill into the team. So for me, I think all is positive at Tottenham Hotspur. We don't have that soft underbelly, which I absolutely hated. For me, I grew up playing Sunday League, breaking up adults. You know, I absolutely loved that. I love the dark side of the game. In midfield, we're absolutely horrible and nasty to play against. You get Romero in at centre-back, you know, we'll be even more horrible and nasty to play against. If Tanganga keeps it, we're right back. He's another animal. So for me, look, I actually think a lot of teams won't fancy coming up against us. Look, you know, a lot of teams on the day, they do like to turn up, but if you're more aggressive than them, sometimes you can shy them away. And I do think that's going to happen with us a lot this season. We're going to take a lot of teams by surprise. And I do think we're going to get top 4 at Liverpool's expense. And Joe, just quickly, the reason why I say at Liverpool's expense is, for me, you got away with it last season, right? I know you had a lot of injury problems, but I can't see Virgil van Dijk staying fit this whole season. I do think, you know, with the long-term injury he had last season, I do think he will end up getting another niggle or something like that, and we'll be out for a little while. I look at it in terms from the Champions League final and winning the league. The spending has been non-existent, realistically. I think they are starting to fall behind some of the clubs that they were maybe eclipsing. And I do think the whole Salah Mane thing will come to a head this season. Look, with Mane, he hasn't hit the ground flying. I don't think he's as good as he once was. I think he's maybe starting to slow down a little bit. And I think with Salah not squaring the ball to him and stuff like that, the way Mane does to Salah, I can see that becoming a problem this season, especially if the goals are drying up for Mane. Look, Firmino, he only ever scores against Tottenham Hotspur. I'm convinced you bought him just to score against us. But then even you look into midfield, you've lost Wijnaldum, who I thought was very important, especially in the games coming in, filling in. And for me, I just don't think you have that squad depth as much this year. And unfortunately, I just see you missing out. I just think you are going through a rebuild phase. I do think you'll still be a very good team. I just think with the games coming in thick and fast this season, I think you might just be caught out.
See, I don't know. I'm getting annoyed with everyone on Twitter because everyone's like, we need to... I mean, most of the people that are saying FSG out and we need to sign players are people that have never been to Liverpool anyway. So I don't really understand it. We've bought in Konate. I know it's only one signing and it's better to have more than that. But we've got so many players coming back from injury. It's like having a new squad anyway. And Kate has got a big role in the team this year. It's finally his time to shine. I'm happy with how the squad is, and I'm worried for the future a little bit with Salah and Mane kind of reaching 30, and we've got quite a lot of players getting on a bit. But I'm quite happy with our squad. We're signing people on new long-term deals. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about Van Dijk's fitness, but he's still looking great in my opinion. And Konate's going to come up, and Matip, while he's in form, he's got to play. That's another thing. He has injury problems, but I'm not as worried as everyone else is. And it seems that the only people that are worried about it are the people that don't support Liverpool. So that's fine by me. I'm happy to be the underdog. I'm happy to be the team that are overlooked. I think top four will be fine. I don't think Tottenham will get in there. I don't want to cause a bit of a stir, but you've had a really good start to the season. But at the same time, you should be beating Watford at home. Nuno's just come from Wolves. It's a game you'd expect to win, and you haven't lost against Man City at home recently. So going off the back of last season, these are games that you would have won anyway. Keep going. It's awesome. It's great momentum and everything. But I don't know. You've won the league already, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, let us have our moment, Joe. The only thing I'd say with what Joe said is we wouldn't necessarily have won those games last year because we were going 1-0 up and conceding and drawing 1-0 at the likes of Palace away, Wolves away. So I think it may be an improvement on last year already. But anyway, only time will tell. But guys, that is all we have time for today. I know Dave has to go, but that's an hour of solid talk about Tottenham, everything related to the transfer window and Spurs at the moment. But once again, thanks Dave for coming on. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. And obviously we'll put your links in the description, guys. Go and check out Irish Hotspur if you're not subbed to him already. I'm sure you are. But if you're not, honestly, great channel, great guy. He has great guests on there. And it's always a laugh when we get him on here with all the nicknames, etc. So, Dave, thanks once again, my man.
No, look, I want to say thanks very much for having me. I really, really do appreciate it, guys. I hope to be on a lot more this season, more regularly. I really enjoy this channel. And the Harris Army that did follow me over. First of all, thank you so much. But second of all, smash that subscribe button. Honestly, I never tell you to subscribe to bad channels ever. And this one is one of my favorites, I have to say. It really is. So please make sure you do smash that subscribe button. A big time for the boys. And I want you to as well. So absolutely drop it and let's help these lads out. Fantastic channel. Thanks very much for having me. And I hope to be back again soon, lads.
We're 100% having you on again, mate. Like we said, we've got a bit of a setup going on now, so it's a lot more easier to do live videos, etc. So 100%, mate, we'll have you on again soon. And thanks once again. And thanks, Joe, obviously, for coming on. Your internet decided to be all right, which was great. I thought you were going on to lag land for a bit, but we were all good in the end. But thanks for joining us as well, Joe.
Absolutely. Happy to be back.
And guys, as always, like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, and we'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.